John D. Rockefeller, who went on to become the world's wealthiest man during his lifetime, once wrote, "A man has no right to occupy another man's time unnecessarily." And on today's show, we interview the mortgage banking guru, Steve Currington, the Lamborghini-driving mortgage banker, to talk about why if you are not prompt, it will stomp out your dreams. Today is the show that may just change the direction of your life if you've been having some ongoing strife caused by being perpetually late to everything.
Oh, this show isn't about me, is it?
Right, this show about the importance of being on time is not about you being late, it's about other people who are late.
That's good, because I didn't want the show to be about me being late all the time.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrive Time Show.
Now, 3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, 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 and yes! Thrive Nation, we are in the air everywhere. Steve Currington, what's cracking?
What up?
Steve, on today's show, we're talking about something that I know you're passionate about, and it's a topic called being on time. Being on time, the importance of being on time. And I want to start off by reading a notable quotable that comes to us via the late, great John D. Rockefeller, who once wrote, "A man has no right to occupy another man's time unnecessarily." A man has no right to occupy another man's time unnecessarily. Steve, talk to me about this, because you employ a large team of, you have employees, you have staff, you have people that work with you, you have colleagues, you have vendors, you have a lot of relationships you're managing. How angry does it make you when you have an employee on your team who is consistently late? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, if 10 is you're irate, and a 1 is, it doesn't really matter. How irate does it make you on a scale of 1 to 10 when somebody is consistently late?
Well, I would just say on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being irate, what the employee sees is a 1. But what I'm really is like a 20.
Really?
Yeah, because it's just, especially when, and if you're an employer out there, or you've ever had a team, or you've ever managed people, or I don't know, maybe given someone a chance that you had no reason to give a chance to, you just did out of the kindness of your heart. You literally, like, the heavens opened up and reached down out of the clouds to give someone a blessing of a job, and then the way that they thank you is by being late on their first day of work and their second day of work.
Now let's talk about this for a second. You have a mortgage business. You manage a branch, I believe. What's the name of the business that you work with?
It's called Guaranteed Rate.
And you do loans all over the country, right?
Yeah.
So if our listeners right now are listening and they want to get a mortgage, they could go to stevecurrington.com.
Yep.
And you would take care of these guys.
Yeah.
You could help in any city, any state?
Yeah, all 50.
Have you helped actual members of the Thrive Nation before?
Yeah, we're doing a refinance for a guy in California right now. We've got another guy in Colorado that we're working on. Just got one yesterday. John called me. He's buying a house in Mississippi.
Wow. Okay. So you do work with members of the Thrive Nation, and I'm just trying to give you a little background here. I've worked with you for a long time, and if you have a young man or young woman that joins your team, and they want to join your team and to eventually do what you do, what do you call that position? Like, what do you call it? What exactly do you call yourself?
We'll start someone as in what we call business development, or a mortgage assistant. And with Guaranteed Rate, the really cool thing is we've got a program. We call it the Accelerate program, which is pretty unheard of in the industry, where the company has actually an entire department that's dedicated to helping people that want to learn the mortgage business, helping them with everything from learning basic mortgage terms to studying for and passing their mortgage loan originator license or test. It taking them through a whole 12-month program to essentially, they have a sponsor, and then they've got a mentor that mentors them to teach them the business. So it's a really cool thing, and it's a good opportunity if you get selected for that. I mean, it's a really good, because you could literally never have worked in the mortgage business before, and you could come in and be taught the business and be essentially given the opportunity to build a career with a really good company.
So let's talk about this for a second. Again, so if I started off working with you today, start off at an entry level, how long does it take before I can be doing what you do with your company?
It takes 12 months for you to get to the status of where you can become an associate vice president or a I don't even know what my title is. I'm a VP of mortgage. I was trying to remember, I always get these titles, but so going from an associate VP of mortgage to a VP of mortgage, which is what I am, is really dependent on your aptitude. But I think the minimum time is 12 months, because in your first 12 months, you've got to close, once you take your pre-licensed education and pass your test and get licensed, you've got to close 20 loans underneath a mentor and a VP like myself.
And you call that position a what again now? The associate?
Associate VP.
An associate vice president. Okay.
Yep.
So, and it takes how long to become an associate vice president?
12 months.
So it takes 12 months. And what kind of education do you need to get?
Kind of technically, when you come out of your licensing and you get done, you can move into that AVP role, but you have to close 20 loans in your first 12 months or you're done.
And you start out by becoming licensed. How long does it take to become licensed?
20 hours of pre-licensing education. So we had a guy that started, today's a Wednesday, so he started last Monday, and he's already done a ton of training, but he's also already completed his 20 hours of pre-licensed education.
So you take 20 hours to invest in you call it pre-licensed education?
Pre-licensing education, yep.
And where do you get that kind of education?
It's offered through the nationwide mortgage licensing system. They've got vendors that are in the portal that you can purchase it through.
So if somebody out there is listening and they say, hey, I want to get a mortgage for my home, they could go to stevecurrington.com and do that.
Yep.
Or if they're listening and they say, hey, I want to move to Oklahoma and maybe apply to work with you.
Yeah.
They could do that. It takes 20 hours of pre-licensing education to do that.
Yep.
What kind of pay does somebody start off with when they're doing once they are licensed?
About $30,000 is the base pay. If
$30,000 base pay.
Yeah, if you want to be a like we call them business development before they're licensed. So it's kind of cool because it gives you an opportunity while you're working on your licensing and working on becoming an AVP. You get to work in a role within the company where you get some education just on the job by working.
Now, again, let's talk about this again. If you're prompt, I mean, man, that creates a great reputation.
Yeah.
Turns out people like it when people are on time.
Right.
People actually prefer to do business with people that are on time or early. They do.
Correct.
But people, I mean, if you're not prompt, what it's going to do is it's going to stomp out your dreams. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So let's just say I invested 20 hours in pre-licensing education, right? And then I'm late to day number 1 of work. How's that going to go over? Even if I have the licensing, even if I'm top of my class with my grades or my GPA or my scoring, even if I have the best background, best resume, if I'm late day 1, what does that say?
Not good. Back to the drawing board, Mum.
Now let's say though that I apologize, and then I'm not late again for 3 weeks, but then I'm late again. What does that do? Every time someone's late, what does that say to you?
It's just like, they say that you take 1 step forward and 2 steps back.
Yep.
That's what being late is.
So every time you're late, it sets back.
2 steps back.
Why?
Because you're not dependable, because people can't depend on you. If you miss work or above everything, you need somebody that you can depend on that'll be at work, that'll be there to do their job.
And we're talking about this because I know you very well, and I know that you are fastidious about being on time. And if you're not on time, you'll call me well in advance and say, hey, I'll be out of town this week. Hey, I have this coming up. But when somebody's consistently not on time.
Right.
And again, there's kind of that 1 to 2 minutes where I get it. Maybe you had to wrap up a call.
Well,
maybe
I tell people this, if you work in an office environment like I do, or here we are at Thrive, you work in an office environment. There aren't customers that are standing at the door, at 8 o'clock waiting to get in. Okay. So at our company, if we start at 8, there aren't customers, but could you imagine if you worked at, I don't know, let's say you worked at a gas station, you worked at Walmart, or you worked at Walgreens, or you worked at CVS, or you worked at a place that opens at a certain time. If you know that you're responsible for opening the store and customers are able to walk in the store at 7 a.m., would you show up at 7:03 and as you're like unlocking the door and turning on the lights to CVS?
If you were a surgeon, you have a surgery scheduled at 7,
Yeah.
would you show up at 7:03?
Yeah.
If you were a pilot, let's say you were an NBA basketball player.
Right.
Tip-off game starts at 7:05.
Yeah, so you're just going to get there.
You're going to get there
wouldn't
after tip-off?
So, like, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't show up and, like, customers are outside the door and you're like, give me a
Right.
few minutes. I got to turn the light on. Got to get the register up and running. Got to get all this done.
Gotta get it
No,
going.
you'd get there early. And so everybody has kind of a, like you've got a routine in the morning, right, Clay?
Yeah.
So I've noticed, like, every employee that I've ever had kind of has, like, a routine in the morning, okay?
Yeah.
So I had a guy one time that would get to work, and I fired him, by the way. He would get to work he would get there on time, okay? But he really wouldn't do any work for about the first 35 minutes or so, because usually he would get there at 8, get there at 7:50. He would get his coffee. He would get, get some kind of a beverage. He would.
There's kind of a routine, kind of a wind-up almost.
He would
It's
say hello to people.
Hello.
He would go sit
Hello.
down in his desk. He would call his girlfriend.
what are you guys up to?
He would get online and check his bank.
What are you guys
And-
up to over there? You
Yeah,
guys
and then he
have a
would
good
take.
weekend?
Then he would take a morning poo-poo. It was his
Hey
normal
guys, I'm
morning.
gonna use the restroom. Real
Oh,
quick.
we'll take it. Don't.
He's
real
he's
quick.
rolling in there with like a large book.
Yeah, he's like
Not
hey
a magazine,
Guys, I hope
he's
you
bringing
don't
a whole
mind.
book.
I'm going to read the Bible while I'm in the restroom. So then he would go to take the same.
Hey man, I'm going to the bathroom. What are your favorite 18 verses in
He'd
Proverbs?
do number 2, and so about 8:35, he'd be like, "Ooh, okay, I'm ready to work." And listen, if that's you and that's how you have to get like wound up for work, it's no problem. Just get early. Get there at 7:25. If your shift starts at 8,
You're saying
and
if
it
you're
takes you
somebody who wants to read the Bible
on the pot,
on the pot, and that's what gets you going.
right?
If that's what you do.
Just do it before your shift. You know what I mean? Because your boss will appreciate it, and the people that work with you appreciate it. Because listen, everybody knows. They're like, oh, this guy never does any work. This guy doesn't do any work for the first 30 minutes. I mean, you know this stat. You can probably find it.
Yeah.
What's the average hours that most people in an 8-hour day that an employer gets of work out of someone?
Well, I can say right now, according to Nielsen, this is before COVID, the average person consumes 11.3 hours per day. According to Nielsen, 11.3 hours per day consuming media. This is before Steve, before COVID. I don't even know what people are doing now with COVID. A lot of people are, stuck at home. A lot of people are quarantined. But I mean, that's 11.3 hours a day on social media. And I don't have the hard stats in front of me, but I do know that there are a lot of statistics that show that a lot of people will spend the vast majority of those 11.3 hours per day on social media at work on social media.
Right.
So I can say a large percentage of people spend a large percentage of their day wasting time.
Yeah.
Waste of time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to break it into some specific coachable, trainable moments. I'm going to tee up I'm going to do it. It's like a soft pitch. Okay. I'm going to tee up the slow pitch softball. I'm underhand to you, and then you smash it out of the park.
Okay, got it.
Smash it out of the park. Okay. So action, because these are action items. I want everyone to be able to take some action items that you can apply right now. Step 1, plan on being everywhere 15 minutes before you need to be there.
Correct.
Steve, why is that so helpful if we set the expectation that we're going to get everywhere 15 minutes early?
Well, I don't know. Let's say that you're on your way to work and something happens. You run into some, unexpected traffic, and it delays you by 10 minutes. Well, you're still going to be 5 minutes early. But if you literally get up and if you're this person and you've timed that it takes you exactly 19 minutes to get from your door of your house to the door of your office, so therefore you leave to get to work at 8 o'clock, you leave at 7:40 because that gives you like 1 minute.
I know if I leave my house at 5:40 or at 3:45 in the morning, I know I will be here exactly at 4. So if I want to get here for sure by 4, I need to really leave by 3:30.
Yeah.
I need to give myself that extra time, because the one time that you really need to be here on time and you're counting to be here exactly 15 minutes, you're going to be late.
Yeah, you might like Clay. You might get pulled over for driving too slow.
Then that has
actually happened to him.
So you got to plan.
Why are you driving so slow?
You got to plan on arriving 15 minutes early.
Yeah, just get there early. If you plan ahead, it just allows you to have a little bit of a cushion for something that might come up.
Now, step 2, you got to plan for bad things to happen.
Yep.
I get so it's so frustrating for me being an employer if I let it be, and I know it's frustrating for you if you let it be. But people that they plan on everything working out well.
Yeah.
Everything has to fit perfectly in order for them to be on time, and because everything doesn't fit perfectly, then they say, what had happened was there was a car that was in the way, and I was trying to not run into a car, and so I just want to know, would you have preferred for me just to run over the cones and the police officer, or did you want me to wait? I mean, because that's what I want to know. Is
then they put the blame on you.
Right?
So you wanted me to kill someone.
So you wanted me to just run right through them cones,
right?
Or did you want me to be on time? I don't know because I'm confused.
My favorite one is. I'm 15 minutes late because I've been sick all night and I've been puking. And I'm like, if you were sick all night and puking, sometime in the night or in the morning, wouldn't you message or text or call your boss and say, hey, just FYI, I've been sick and puking. I'll be there, but I'll be a few minutes late. No. What happened is you were late, and on your way to work, as you were driving late, you were going, what can I say? What can I say? What can I say? What's a good excuse? What's a good thing that... And you know what the problem is, Clay? I used to suck and be late.
So you could.
I did all that stuff.
And a lot of times the pitches people give you, you've already given them.
I've given it.
They'll go, hey, yes, boss. Here's the deal. I got calcium deficiency, and I feel so much calcium I do not have. And
I think
just
I
wanted
said
to
this
know,
on the last one that I had Robert Rush. I'd call in and say I'm sick, and he'd go, "Oh, you're throwing up. Oh, go get some Diasor from Walgreens. We'll see you in a minute." You know what I mean? He's like,
yes, I just want to know, Steve, my boss here. How much? What's a good place to get some calcium? Because I am deficient in my calcium. Where's a good store to go get that?
Right.
That's the kind of crap people will do, though.
Yeah.
They'll call or they'll go, yes. Do you know Steve of a good auto mechanic? And this is like 8:15. They're supposed to be there at 8.
Yeah.
And you go, what do you mean? Yes, I just want to know because my muffler has been removed.
What happened was
and then you'll go, well, hey, I'll just pick you up. I'll be happy to meet you, and I'll take you to work. No, my muffler was abducted, and myself was as well. And so you know what I'm saying? It's just it's a web of lies. So action item number 1 though, plan on arriving everywhere 15 minutes early. Just plan on it. Action item number 2, plan for the bad things and delays to happen. Plan for it.
Yeah.
I just got back from Washington,
why do you want to be stressed?
I just got back from Washington, D.C. I don't understand people that want to get to the airport right when they need to be there.
Yeah.
I don't get it. People are hustling through the airport with their masks on, trying to rush through. TSA, the whole idea of when you go to the airport, the security is already pretty intense anyway to begin with. But now with the COVID thing, it's like we're going to take your temperature. We're going to make sure you're wearing a mask. I mean, it was already a slow process to begin with. And now there's people that are sprinting through the airport frustrated that they can't move through the labyrinth of security and health screenings before going somewhere. Come on. I mean, again, plan for bad things and delays to happen. Now, point 3, get up 1 hour before you need to.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve, talk to me about that morning routine when you get up early, man. And you design the day. How do things feel when you get up a full hour early?
Oh, I get up at the same time every day. So it's just, you just get, I don't have to talk to a human for like 3 hours from the time I wake up. I don't have to talk to a human. Now, at 7:30 every morning, Casey calls me on the dot. That's my production manager at the office. So, but usually, Clay, by then, like actually did this morning. This is actually kind of funny. Casey called me at 7:30 and I was like, hey, hello. Hey, what's up? Oh, sorry. Oh,
yeah.
What?
Who did?
What time is it? I'm
yes.
sorry.
Steve,
I just had a really.
Are you up?
I said I just had a really long night, and she goes, "You're so full of crap. You're walking, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm on the trail." So I was already like a half a mile into my 5-mile walk.
So
by
what
the
time do you
she
get
called
up?
me.
What time do you get up?
4:20.
4:20. Okay. So you wake up the same time every day. All right. So again, somebody out there needs to write these because once you write down these 5 action items and you apply them. Things are.
Yeah, but hey, even if I'm feeling like a bum one day and I get up an hour late, what time would I get up? 5:20. I'm still 2 hours and 10 minutes before the first human I have to talk to in the day. And that's valuable. Maybe you're not into that. Maybe you like staying up late. That's perfectly fine. But if you want to win the game, I've never met someone that was building a career or building a business that prided themselves on the fact that they stayed up late and got up at 10 or 11 or 9 or whatever. You know what I mean? Usually those, not always the case. I mean, there's probably some like most of the people that you talk to, maybe like Dr. Z now, he's able to do that now.
Because he's already hit the goals.
Yeah, because he's already done it.
He's already in the end zone. He's in the end zone.
I haven't hit the goals yet, so I still got to get up.
So action items. Again, let's talk about this. Again, we got to plan on arriving everywhere 15 minutes early. That's step 1. Step 2, we got to plan for bad things to happen.
Yep.
And delays. You got to. Step 3, you got to get up 1 hour before you need to. Steve, you don't want to get up. You don't want to get up right when you need to.
Yeah.
You don't want to be just scrambling.
Right.
You want that time to kind of, get a coffee, take a shower, just kind of. There's kind of that those first 5 minutes of every day where we're just dumb.
Right.
Usually the first 5 minutes of my day. The other day I was looking for my glasses, Steve, at like 3:30 in the morning. And do you know where they were?
On your head?
Yeah, I was wearing them. True story.
I've done that before. I've been looking for my keys forever, and they were in my hand.
The other day I was looking for a toothbrush, and I just remember this vividly. I'm like, God, where's my toothbrush? And I look, and I notice I'm waving it. Like I have it in my hand. I mean, they just.
You realize you're cleaning the toilet with it? You're like, oh man, where's my toothbruch? I'm like, oh man, I'm sitting here cleaning the toilet with it.
I was scrubbing the teeth of my cat, and I realized, wait a minute, that's my toothbrush. No, but
Right.
seriously, it's super important though, because Steve, how doesn't it bother you when an employee on your team shows up looking in that stupid tired phase where they just woke up?
Yes.
I mean,
actually, it
no one
doesn't
wants to
annoy
be-
me. It doesn't annoy me. It angers me.
No one wants to be around somebody
Wipe
during the
that
first
off,
10
yeah.
minutes of their day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
The guy who tries to play it off like he's been awake for a long time.
Yeah.
Hey, bruh, I've been up for hours, man. He's
What are
still
you
got the
talking
pillow
about?
mark on his face.
Right.
So
Yeah.
again, we plan on arriving everywhere 15 minutes early. Step 2, plan for bad things and delays to happen. Step 3, you want to get up 1 hour before you need to. Step 4, stay on the same sleeping schedule when possible.
Right.
I mean, doesn't that help what time do you go to bed, Steve?
I have my alarm set to go to bed at 8:40 p.m.
Isn't that a good time?
Yeah, and I don't always go to bed. I mean, I rarely go to bed at 8:40, but it's kind of like my reminder
Right.
that it's like time to start winding down. I don't require a lot of sleep, so it just kind of depends.
But you're not going to be up till 4 in the morning.
No.
But a lot of people seem shocked that if they're up till 4 in the morning, they're going to look bad and feel bad the next morning.
Right.
I'm serious. Nothing's worse than trying to explain to a 40-year-old man the concept of being on time.
The reason why you feel so bad at 4 in the morning
Yeah.
is because you went to bed at 3 in the morning drunk. So you're still drunk at 4 in the morning. That's how it goes.
Now, next move number 5, action item number 5. Invest the first hour of every day to organize your day.
Yeah.
Invest the first hour. Before you see a human, invest the first hour. Use your to-do list. Use your calendar, your planner. Get up an hour before you see another human and organize the day. Now, great news here for you, folks. Brian Tracy, the best-selling author and the motivational speaker, he once said, your greatest asset is your earning. He says, your greatest asset is your earning ability. Your greatest resource is your time. Again, your greatest asset is your earning ability. Your greatest resource is your time. Steve, when people go to your website, stevecurrington.com, and they apply for mortgages, if you weren't fastidious about organizing your time, you wouldn't be able to process all the mortgages. And in fact, I know a lot of people in your industry that I have helped to generate leads, and they just can't ever generate momentum with their career because they can't organize their calendar.
Yep.
Today we had the John Whitmer radio show reached out to have me on the show, and we had the War Room reached out to have me on their show, and we had Andrea Kay reached out to have me on her show. So there's 3 radio shows I'm supposed to be on today.
Oh, wow.
But because I know my calendar, I was able to call the client and say, client, will you be here today? And one client said, actually, we're out of town. Thank you for asking. Boom. Right? Then I called another client, and my 3 o'clock, he's out of town today, so I was able to move my 4 o'clock meeting to 3. And these are all like, I'm planning my day. I'm not just reacting. Yeah. I'm asking the question, is it okay if I move this meeting from 4 to 3? Is it okay?
Yeah.
But man, if I didn't have my day plan, I wouldn't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know. So again.
And then what would happen is you'd never get invited back.
Exactly.
Whenever they call
'Cause
you
you
at the time and you miss the time. And
That's
then you're
right.
like, then you're like, I wonder why all these bad things always happen to me. I had an opportunity to be on the War Room, And then just because I was 6 minutes late,
but just because
now they won't put me on the show and I don't get a call back.
And again, if you're not prompt, it will stomp out your dreams. It's going to happen. Now, Brian Tracy goes on to write. He says, no one lives long enough to earn everything he says, no one lives long enough to learn everything they need to learn starting from scratch. To be successful, we absolutely, positively have to find people who've already paid the price to learn the things that we need to learn to achieve our goals.
Yep.
So, Steve, when somebody comes to work for you at stevecurrington.com, when they come work for you at Guaranteed Rate, you're going to teach them the systems.
Yeah.
You said it only takes them, what we said, about 20 hours to get the pre-licensing education in, and
That's
about
right. 12
months of mentorship
Yep.
where they have to close, I think you said 20 mortgages
Yep.
they have to close.
Which, by the way, if you close 20 mortgages in your first year, you're probably in the top 10% of all lenders, because there's a lot of guys that get their license. Yeah,
and
they don't
never sell anything.
They close a loan, and that's their learn. That's how they learn. You learn by doing.
There you go.
And so if in your first 12 months you close one loan, you only learned one loan. But if you close 20, it's 20 times as many.
Now,
I did that math in my head.
Now,
too.
the next move, the next notable quotable I want to give you from Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy, the best-selling author. He writes, "We will always tend to fulfill our own expectation of ourselves." So somebody out there listening right now, you have an expectation that you're not going to earn a lot of compensation.
Yeah.
You've kind of chosen that. You've said, I don't think I can earn a lot. Let me tell you what. If you believe you're not going to earn a lot of money, you're right.
Right.
I mean, but if somebody says, I want to earn a lot of money, I want to make 6 figures a year, can they do it working at Guaranteed Rate?
Yeah.
They could join up with you right now, stevecurrington.com. They can reach out to you, schedule an interview. Realistically, they could earn over $100,000 a year.
Yeah. If they don't, they probably won't have a job.
Right. But you've got to have that expectation. So if you're out there listening right now and you're always late, you're always the person who's always late to everything, this is your chance to change.
Yep.
This is great. It's just you and Steve and I in your car or on your radio or however you're hearing the show. Let's make today a reset.
Yeah. If everything bad happens to you, that's your problem, because you're usually the creator of that. And so the minute you can figure that out, things will start getting better.
And I believe you can change. I believe you can improve. I've seen it happen time and time again. We can't make you change. No one can make you change, but you can change.
Yeah, and The Norm is the book that Clay wrote, and I don't know the name of it, but it's the
Art of Getting Things Done?
No, it's the one that talks about the cycle that new employees go through.
Oh, Hostage.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. If you look up my book called Hostage, Don't Let Your Employees Hold You Hostage. Man,
it's
that
a
book,
really cool book, because it kind of explains. Some people go through that in a week. Some of them go through it in a year. Some of them go through it in 6 months. But
the book Hostage lays out the dysfunction that will always exist over time as an employee becomes less and less prompt, less and less committed, less and less focused over time, unless they are intentional about resetting and refocusing on the task at hand. Again, the book Hostage. And if you're a business owner, it's a great book for you to have, because you can give it to new employees and tell them, hey, this is a cycle that people go through by default, and we don't want to have that cycle here. So here's a great book for you to learn about what it takes to take your career to the next level. Now, Steve, we like to end each and every show with a boom, because boom stands for big, overwhelming, optimistic momentum. But before we do that, if you're out there listening and you need a mortgage, and I know you do. If you need a mortgage, and I know you do, check out stevecurrington.com. Check out stevecurrington.com today. You can apply there, and Steve and his team will be very prompt with getting back with you. And somebody out there listening in all 50 states, you can help them out, right?
Come on.
All right, stevecurrington.com. Apply to get a mortgage today if that's what you need. If home ownership is something you're thinking about doing, save it in your phone, save it in your contacts at stevecurrington.com. And now we'll end this show with a boom. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom.